Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Nona from thealignedlover.com. I want to make more videos on essences, so here is the first one. So essences are a bit different from the Kibbe system. The essence system tends to emphasize the face, the facial features, a bit more than the Kibbe system, which is a lot more focused on the silhouettes and the rules, or the, I would say, categorical exclusions of the types. So if you prefer a more face-centric and I would say holistic and intuitive approach to figuring out your style and the type of beauty you have, I highly recommend looking into the essences. And the essence system is attributed to multiple creators like McJimsey and Kitchener, unlike the Kibbe system, which is obviously limited to David Kibbe. So I think the essence system is a little bit more open to interpretation because it's used more in a colloquial sense, like it's more mishmashed in terms of its sources. So that's another kind of benefit to approaching style with this system. So today we are looking at the Gamine versus the Ingenue, and we have the lovely two examples from each to compare. Alright, so when we try to isolate the physical traits of any essence, it's a little bit difficult because each individual has multiple essences and different manifestations of that. But once you start looking at more and more photos and reading more and more descriptions of what people believe certain essences belong to certain people, you start to get a feel for it. So for the Gamine, what I find is that they have a sense of compactness in their face, shorter face with less vertical space between features overall, so their facial features take up a good amount of their facial space. Their face and their features have a mix of roundness and angularity, broad contours, with sometimes curved edges, sometimes slightly squared off edges, not extremely sharp edges, I find. And I think a good shape that represents them is like this diamond with curved edges and softened corners. Their brows tend to be softer to slightly straight. Usually they have wider set eyes that are more on the elongated side, and their nose tends to be a bit more sharply tapered or slightly upturned. The Ingenue quite different in appearance, so they do share that sense of compactness, so shorter face with features taking up much more room. They also have that roundness, but they have more of a tapering, more of a sharpness. You can see it sometimes in their chins, a bit of their cheekbones sometimes. Their brows tend to be softly curved and delicate, a lot more lightweight than the Gamine with the bolder brows. And their eyes are usually quite round or slightly tilted, almond eyes, very doll-like. Their nose tends to be round or slightly upturned with a shorter overall nose length. Their lips are very rosebud-like, very curvy and dainty. So when we look at them side by side, we see that both of them have that youthful beauty that is almost like neotenous, but the Gamine has more angularity, more broad, sharpened contours, whereas the Ingenue is softer, I would say more lightweight or even hollow looking, like their bone structure is not as robust as the Gamine. If we had to use markers to trace out their shapes, I would use a chiseled bold tip marker for the Gamine and a curved fine tip marker for the Ingenue. Now, in terms of style, the Gamine shines in clear, compact, but structured shapes and materials, contrast, bold, very expressive, throw in some sharper corners or squareness and width here and there. Geometry looks great on them, and this all helps express their very playful, bold, and dynamic beauty, and I would say that their charm is spunky. Now, the Ingenue is someone who looks great in more delicate but round, playful shapes, ruffles, oversized buttons, curves, poofy things, puff sleeves, simpler graphic-like florals instead of extremely ornate and lush florals, delicate little polka dots. Anything that's very youthful, sweet, and doll-like should look great for the Ingenue essence. And when we put them together, we see that the Gamine has more of that visual boldness, that small scale yang with the angles, the squares, the more structured materials, whereas the Ingenue has more of that youthful, small scale yin, more curve, more thin, light fabrics, but still that animated youthfulness that gives that uprightness or playful exaggeration and overall simplicity. Now, if we want to compare these, I would say, youthful types to their more mature types, the Gamine shares the boldness and theatricality of the dramatic, but it's more compact, it's more animated, it's more segmented. And the Ingenue shares the curve and softness of the romantic yin, but again, it's more compact, it's simpler, it's more upright, it's more segmented as well. Now, when the Gamine and the Ingenue kind of switch styles, they don't look as supported. So the Ingenue in more geometric or bold styles with that same sense of segmentation and rhythm, but just more of that angularity and that sense of small scale yang can look a little bit overwhelmed with lines and can look a bit too obscured. And on the other hand, the Gamine in very light ruffles, lace, delicate kinds of shapes and fabrics does not look supported in their boldness. Now remember, there are no explicit boundaries. You can wear and adapt the items or details you like. We have Simone looking amazing and delicate little fringe, rounded shapes, and a delicate, voluminous, circular poof skirt. But they all look great because they're honoring her individual body. And here, Laura looks great in these, I would say, more bold yang kinds of styles, but because there are enough yin youthful details, the soft pleating, the delicate neckline, or the lovely curves against her face caused by her hair, or the touch of lighter washes, like with the contrast of the jacket, or even just the lighter sense of shape from this fitted and slightly curved jacket, it still works beautifully. And remember that everyone has different essences and they can be prioritized in a very fluid way. You don't always have to exaggerate your top essence the most. You don't have to dress anyway you are told anyways, so you can just really do whatever you want. Alright, that was it for today's video. I want to make more essence videos, and I would love if you could leave a comment with some people you'd like me to include so that I know who you are interested in, and it just helps me create more of a database. So please let me know, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!